What's good, y'all? My name KingPen Capone. I'm the CEO of Black Cartel Publications. You know what I mean? But before we get all into that, hey Maestro, why don't you run that for me right quick?
This is Black Cartel, bitch. So why would you trip on them trees that we smoking? No sixes to sit. Black tie be my threads. Straight ball fade, no dreads. Fuck the police, cause on my payroll it's the motherfucking feds. My niggas is like troopers, they got mad skills for
Mm. Man, nothing like a good fresh cup of java in the morning, you know? Get that blood started for me anyway. Get that engine going, you feel me? Black Cartel Television, man, we in the building, bro. It's been a week. Actually, it's been about 3-4 days since I've been hollering at y'all. So, I'm about to go right here behind me where I'm at right now in this seat. Sit down and, man, we're going to get into this. Best served code. So, this book has to be literally probably like my 5th book out of the 9 I wrote. It's probably like my 5th book, Best Served Code. It used to be called G Code, Honor, Loyalty, Respect, Never Snitch. I had wrote so much about kilos and pounds and being a drug dealer, you know what I mean? I was the biggest drug dealer ever seen in my books, boy. You let me tell it, you feel me? I got tired of writing about that stuff, I should say. So I switched it up. And I wanted to make it to where, you know, it's coming from a dude that worked aspect, like at least have that some type of working aspect in it, you know what I mean? Everything else is so street. This street too, don't get it twisted, but I had to take that out of it, you know what I'm saying? That drug selling part of it out of there, you know? Try to push a positive message within there. Y'all guys will read it. You'll check it out. But without further ado, you know, I'm about to get into this book. Yeah. We're gonna knock down this. Black Cartel presents Best Served Code, written by KingPen Capone. Prologue, Cleveland, Ohio, 1980. It was somewhere between late April and early May. A thunderstorm tortured the city streets. Blankets of rain came down, saturating the urban landscape known as Cleveland. Charles McNeil, Charlie Fingers, raced home from DIY warehouse. Though he had his windshield wipers on high, bolts of lightning licked at the city like a newborn pup fresh on the tit. The thunder it left behind shook the foundations of various homes and businesses. The weather made it obvious that no one should be in the streets at all. None of that mattered to Charlie Fingers, for he was on a serious mission, and not even the wrath of God dialed down tonight would stop him. The mission was simple. He just had to make it home. Charlie Fingers was part of a jewel thief team called Crystal Clear. 3 seasoned veterans that made a fortune using their illegal talents. The first day they met Charlie Fingers, they wanted him on a team. Mad Mike, Tony Rock, and Ray Ray were out casing a jewelry store they planned on hitting when Charlie Fingers and his girl Sabrina were inside going to work. The two played the he's picking the ring to propose role, wanting to see engagement rings. Tony Rock and Ray Ray looked on as the couple lifted rings right from under the nose of the sales clerk. The technique was flawless. It was at that point when they made up in their minds they wanted Charlie on the team. Well, Tony Rock and Ray Ray. Mad Mike, on the other hand, was checking out Sabrina, a crazy thick red bone that could have passed for Esther Baxter. She called Mad Mike stare a few times and returned them in a flirtatious manner. That's when he made up in his mind that he would use Charlie for the team and he would use Sabrina as his personal sex partner. Mad Mike was what you call one of those pretty boys. He was a tall, muscular, light-skinned cat with green eyes. He had good hair that he wore in a short afro. He was the brains and the leader of Crystal Clear. The name Mad Mike was derived behind his short-fused temper that at one time was impossible to control. A pimp named Sugar Shaw pinned on him when he first entered the rackets. Tony Rock and Ray Ray were exceptional pickpockets, or as the underworld called them, lifters. The two slim cats met Mad Mike when they tried to lift his wallet and got caught in the process. He was in the arcade on 4th and Euclid doing some shopping. His immaculate choice of tailor-made suits and good looks made him a constant target for women. I know somebody in this motherfucker gotta have some money on him, Tony Rock stated to his friend, who obviously had his attention on something else. It's some fly-ass women in here, said Ray Ray, staring at a woman that was smiling at him as he walked by. Damn, Ray Ray, try thinking with the head on your shoulders instead of the head in your dingy-ass boxers for once, Tony Rock snapped. All right, man, calm
calm down, why don't you? Jeez. I'll calm down once we get some greenbacks in our pocket. Now bring your ass on. Both Tony Rock and Ray Ray had lifestyles that kept them in the pot of poverty. Tony Rock's addiction was gambling. He would bet on anything and everything humanly possible. His bad choices had him $50,000 in the hole to a loan shark by the name of Jaws. Jaws got his name two ways. One, all the gold teeth in his mouth. Even though in today's time that's the end thing to have, back then it was unheard of. Two, his keen sense to track someone down that owed him money. It's like a shark that smells blood in the water. Once that shark locks onto the scent, he apprehends his prey quick and deadly. Well, that was the loan shark Jaws. It aggravated him that he couldn't use these tactics to catch Tony Rock. Then again, Tony Rock wasn't trying to get caught. He knew exactly how Jaws operated. Tony Rock would lift a few wallets, then go back into hiding. Ray Ray's habit was women. He didn't give a damn about tomorrow or yesterday, just if today was sweet. Whatever money he can get his hands on would be spent on champagne, hotels, expensive trips, jewelry, clothes, and cars. He would splurge with women as much as he could. See, his problem was he wanted to be the man, but he wasn't. It was a position that he didn't like, but he took it all in stride and dealt with it. Mad Mike came out of the jewelry store, adjusting a brand new Rolex he just purchased, along with lifting a few items to go with it. A few pinky rings and a 24-karat link Rolex bracelet. He wore a black silk suit with all accessories addressed. A cashmere trench was tailored to hang 4 inches off the ground to complement his 1-inch cuff gracing his exotic reptiles. His down-the-waist swag was on display. A white silk scarf found his rest under the lapel of his overcoat. The gleam from his gold watch caught the attention of a very attractive woman. "Excuse me, but can you tell me what time it is?" she asked, showing her pearly whites. "Sure, why not?" he responded as he gave her the time along with the look over. Tony Rock and Ray Ray had just come off the escalator when they spotted their mark. "Bingo!" Tony Rock nudged Ray Ray, getting his attention. "So, tell me, how is it a fine woman like yourself don't have a man?" Mad Mike asked on the prowl. The remark caused the young woman to blush. "Ain't this a bitch?" Tony Rock yelled. "I knew I met you before. You that motherfucker that slapped my sister. I've been waiting for this day for so long," he exclaimed through clenched teeth as he backed Ray Ray closer to Mad Mike and his female friend. "Look, cuz, I don't think you know me," Ray Ray responded, truly sounded convincing. "Nigga, that's bullshit. Don't insult my intelligence," Tony Rock said, pushing Ray Ray closer to Mad Mike. "So you don't remember me, huh? I kicked your ass then, and I'm gonna kick it again." He swung and hit Ray Ray square in the jaw. Ray Ray turned around and fell into Mad Mike, then fell onto the floor. And just like that, he lifted the wallet from inside his overcoat. Ray Ray got up holding his mouth and took off running. "Say, man, I'm sorry about that. I've been looking for his ass for the longest," Tony Rock said, trying to go after Ray Ray. Now, to the untrained eye, the lift would have gone off exceptional. They had no idea they were dealing with a thief, a con man, and a murderer. Mad Mike felt his jacket for his wallet out of instinct. "Say, motherfucker," he yelled to no one. Tony Rock and Ray Ray were already gone out the building. Mad Mike wasn't going out like that. He kept looking until he found them on Euclid going into an alley by May Company. They were checking their treasure from their illegal gain when they heard the hammer being cocked. They looked up to see Mad Mike standing there holding the .38 snub nose pointed straight at him. "Aw, shit," Ray Ray exclaimed as he dropped the wallet on the ground. They stood there shaking like newborn babies straight out the womb. Mad Mike walked up to him and picked up his wallet. With the pistol on him, he looked down at his wallet, then up at them. "You know, usually I put a bullet in a nigga's ass for trying some bullshit like this. I must admit, though, that was a thorough lift. How would you guys like to come work for me?" he asked, putting his wallet up. With the pistol pointed at him, Ray Ray was shaking so much he couldn't respond to the business opportunity. "If you don't mind, why don't you put that pistol away? I'm quite sure we could think a little clearer without looking down the barrel of that gun," Tony Rock requested, trying not to let his fear be seen. And that's how Crystal Clear came about. A botched pickpocket attempt. The three became extremely close, taking their illegal skills to a whole new level. Jaws became a victim of a robbery that went totally wrong. Well, that's what the newspapers read. He met a gruesome death by the hands of Crystal Clear. Ultimately, yet unwillingly, he donated to the foundation of his captors, giving them the startup funds to launch their organization. At the time, Mad Mike was trying to find a better way to get paid than just cons and lifting. He learned that he could make a substantial amount of money in the jewelry rackets. As time went by, he had Tony Rock and Ray Ray on some finesse and polish shit. The decisions he made had their wardrobe tight and their pockets overflowing with funds. Everyone has a weakness, and if you exploit it, you can break a person. You can break them mentally or financially. And since money was not a problem, now, it was hard to exploit Tony Rock and Ray Ray's. Mad Mike had a weakness. His weakness was built like Lisa Ray from Players Club, and her name was Sabrina. It's funny how good sex can change a person for the worse, and Sabrina was no exception. While the fellas were out on jewelry heists, Sabrina used this time to creep with Mad Mike. Charlie Fingers knew all along what was going on, but chose to keep his mouth shut. Deep down inside, he knew Sabrina wasn't shit. He also knew he was going to use this to his advantage. Sabrina kept a set of keys to Mad Mike's place in a Tampax box with the rest of her feminine washes under the bathroom sink. She thought that Charlie Fingers would never look in a place like that. Not only did he know about the keys, but he made a copy. After one of the heists, Charlie told her that he was going over to Tony Rock and Ray Ray's. He left and drove around the block and parked down the street from his house and waited. Just like clockwork, Sabrina left 15 minutes later. The cat was so in a rush to get some dick that she ain't even noticed the tail following her. Once she got to the house, he waited long enough for Mad Mike to be knee-deep in his girl's guts. Charlie Fingers slid in, hit the safe, and left the house undetected. The next day, Mad Mike was furious after realizing his safe was hit. His way of thinking made him to believe that Sabrina set him up. He threatened to kill her if his items weren't returned. Crystal Clear's startup package was gone. Charlie Fingers hit him for $1.7 million in cash, 2 black velvet bags containing $6 million in diamonds. There were bags of silver and gold, but hands down it was the diamonds that made the haul worth it all. Charlie Fingers wanted to flee and run from Mad Mike's wrath that was sure to come. A part of him had to stay as not to bring attention to himself and throw him off his trail. At least that was his logic and thinking. If he knew any better, running would have been his best option. It didn't take long for Mad Mike to put 2 and 2 together. He knew that Charlie Fingers was the only one who could have pulled it off. Ray Ray and Tony Rock were too loyal to him to try something like that. Before long, his belief in Sabrina's involvement brought a bullet to her head. Charlie Fingers had just hung up a king-size picture of Dr. Martin Luther King on the living room wall when he heard a knock at the door. "Who is it?" Charlie asked. "Open up, man. It's Rock and Ray." Already knowing the meaning behind the visit, he opened the door anyway. "What's up, fellas?" he asked, stepping to the side to let them in. Just as he was about to close the door, Mad Mike stepped in with a present in his hand. A black gift-wrapped box with a bright red bow on top. "Hey, what's up, Mike?" Charlie asked, trying to hide his nervousness. Mad Mike ignored him as he walked in. "Can I get you guys something to drink?" he asked, shutting the door behind him. "Nah, no thanks," Mad Mike responded. "This visit ain't social, it's business." Ray Ray and Tony Rock were looking around, giving their true nature of the visit. "So how can I help you guys?" Charlie asked with a half a smile. Mad Mike sat the box down on the coffee table, unbuttoned his jacket, and took the seat on the sofa. "You know, Charlie, I had this freak bitch over the other night. I mean, this bitch was freakier than the average, and she could suck a dick better than any bitch I had in the past. She used to always complain about how her man didn't know how to lay that pipe right." Mad Mike was trying to break Charlie mentally and get him out of his hookup. Charlie Fingers knew what it was, but wouldn't give Mike the satisfaction. "This bitch was all the way live. She did it all. But the strangest thing happened." "Oh yeah, what's that?" Charlie asked. "Someone had the audacity to come in and rob me while I was in the pussy," Mike responded, playing with the ball in the box. "Well, now it seems as though I'm gonna have to find me another piece of ass. I had to 86 her. I can't have a bitch I'm fucking turn around and cross me the way she did." Tony Rock and Ray Ray stood by their boss with blank faces. "I gave her a first-class ticket out of my life. Enough about her, she's history. Let's talk about you." Ray Ray went and stood by the kitchen door. Tony Rock took his position by the front door. "I wanted to give you a token of my appreciation for the last job you did for me." "Ah, man, that was nothing. But besides, you already paid me for that," Charlie said, trying to figure out a way to get out the house if shit hit the fan. "I know, Charlie, but this present I got for you is a special token of my appreciation. Come sit down and open it," Mike said, patting the couch next to him. Reluctantly, Charlie went over. Mad Mike slid the box over to him. Slowly, Charlie pulled at the bow and unwrapped the gift. An old box was exposed as he pulled the paper off. Nobody steals from me, Charlie. It seems Mike's words were coming out in slow motion as he lifted the lid. Inside the box sat Sabrina's hands. He knew they were hers because of the rings that were on the finger. During their relationship, she bought her jewelry and he recognized them on the dead hands. Oh shit, man, you're fucking crazy, he exclaimed, slamming the box. Charlie's actions didn't come from his heart going out to his now deceased lover. It was the heinous act of violence committed all for the sake of his money that had him stoked. Not as crazy as I'm gonna get if you don't come up with my shit, Mike retorted. Man, I don't know what the fuck you talking about, Charlie pleaded. Tony Rock closed the curtains while Ray Ray turned the stereo up. Mad Mike grabbed Charlie by the neck and put the blade under his chin. Don't fucking play with me, man. Now where's my shit at? He demanded. I don't know what you talking about. Besides, I would never try to cross you like that, man. I got more sense than that, Charlie pleaded while his heart felt as though it was about to beat out of his chest. You know, I thought the same thing, but there was only one person that had a set of keys to my house, and that was your bitch Sabrina. Besides, it wasn't a forced entry. It's like someone just walked right in, hit my safe, and then dipped. Since I was fucking Sabrina, that leaves motive on your behalf. Mad Mike threw him down on the floor by his neck and put his hand on the table. Tony Rock and Ray Ray came over to assist holding Charlie down. Now I'm gonna ask you again, where the fuck is my shit at? Man, I don't know what you talking about. I knew you were going to say that, Mad Mike replied with a smile. He looked at Tony Rock and Ray Ray. Hold his ass down. Mad Mike took the knife and sliced off his pinky finger first. Charlie finger screamed from the pain. Where's my shit at, Charlie? Oh my God, I told you I don't have your shit, man. Mad Mike took the knife and cut off his wedding ring finger. I told you I don't have nothing of yours. Come on, Mike. I don't think a man would go through all of that pain. He really must don't have it. Cut the man some slack, Ray Ray said, trying to defend Charlie's fingers. Mad Mike leaped at his comrade and put the blade to Ray Ray's neck. Now, unless you want to join him, I suggest you hold his ass down and stay the fuck out of my business. The blade drew blood from Ray Ray's neck, breaking the skin. When Ray Ray felt the liquid trickle down his neck, he knew that he had no choice but to shut up or his fate would be that of his friend. Mad Mike continued to stare at Ray Ray as he went back to work on Charlie. Next, he sliced off his middle finger. Shit, you motherfucker is bad enough. You was fucking my bitch and killed her. This shit is enough. She crossed me. What makes you think she won't cross you, you sick motherfucker? Charlie Fingers exclaimed between sobs. Mad Mike pondered the thought for a minute. He looked at the blood seeping out of Charlie's hands. Fuck it, he nonchalantly said, shrugging his shoulders. He took his blade and stuck it deep in Charlie's head and kept pushing it until the blade was no longer visible. Tony Rock and Ray Ray released their grip immediately. They saw plenty of guys get shot before, even witnessed a few overdoses. Never have they seen such a brutal act committed like the one they just witnessed. Now find my shit, Mad Mike demanded. The three tore the house up from the basement to the attic and came up empty. It ain't shit in here, Mike. We checked every possible place we can think of. Maybe he really didn't take it, said Tony Rock. Tony Rock was ready to leave. Charlie Fingers released himself and the putrid smell started to nauseate him. Truth be told, he was ready to leave after seeing Mad Mike drive that blade into his late friend's head. Go and get the line from the car. Mad Mike, Tony Rock, and Ray Ray buried the late Charlie Fingers in the basement of his own home. Let's go, he said as he climbed the steps throwing on his overcoat. From this day forth, whoever move in this house, I want you to watch they ass. I don't give a fuck if an old lady move in this bitch. If she buy her grandbaby a bike, I want to know about it. From that day forward, that house was watched. Many tenants came and went over the years. One in particular, Raymond Douglas. All right. Chapter 1, Cleveland, Ohio, 2005. The horn sounded at Alcon Foundry, alerting the iron pourers that it was their time to perform their duties. Rain was sitting at a small dumpster separating the metal pieces from the dirt barrels. Once a new barrel was full, it would be melted down again to be used on a later date. Shit, Rain said to himself. Rain found that sitting on a barrel by the back door catching a breeze was somewhat relaxing. Heat saturated the foundry. Being around a furnace that melted iron at 2300 degrees was torture within itself. The temperature in the foundry was already a sweltering 90+ degrees. That meant standing near the furnace was 120 degrees easy. There was a dirt mist that hung in the air and clung to your skin and the lungs. Should a person seek a career doing this, then there would be a probability of having a bout with the black lung disease. The only perk to manual iron pouring was that it kept him fit. Out of the 6 iron pourers, Rain was by far the skinniest on the team. But after 100 days on the job, he saw his frail frame come to form. His forearms were big for his size, not to mention his shoulders and back being the biggest it's ever been. It almost gave him a deformed look. He had a washboard stomach that would make any woman proud to be his lady. Rain dressed down in blue jeans, white tee, steel-toe boots, and an old Cleveland Cavalier ball hat. He had on a back brace for the 300-pound pot of liquid metal, earplugs for the excessive noise in the foundry, safety goggles, and a face mask for the dirt mist. For the iron pouring job, he had to put on a fireproof jacket and pants, same as the firefighters, suede shin guards, a helmet with a tinted plastic face shield, and 2 pairs of gloves with the rubber grip. 2 people would carry one pot out at a time. One person would shank, carry one end with one hand, while the other person poured iron into dirt molds supported by steel frames. Though it sounds easy, iron pouring took more than just muscle. It took timing and a great deal of care. The steel was so hot that it was in liquid form. If not poured correctly, it would blow out the side of the joints of the dirt molds. Over half the iron pourers witnessed terrible accidents because timing and care were not used. Rain walked over to the lockers where the other burly iron pourers were and joined them in getting ready. The iron pourers really didn't take to Rain because of the shell he kept himself in. They thought that something was wrong with him. But the truth of the matter was he was like that all the time. A silent and soft-spoken person. His government name was Raymond Douglas. He got the name Rain from his Uncle Jack. No one respected Rain coming up in the hood. That was until he fought the neighborhood tough that everyone looked up to. The guy's name was Antoine Hall. Antoine had his way in the hood by fighting, bullying, and petty extortion. He picked one too many fights with the young Raymond. One day Raymond gave him everything he was looking for. He beat Antoine with boxing skills that his uncle taught him in front of the whole school. For that, everyone praised him. Rain's reputation never tarnished from that day. The iron pouring job was given to him by a temporary agency, so that meant he wasn't on the clock yet. He had to wait 120 days before they would give him a physical and give him a drug test. Rain didn't know about the drug test. Had he known, he would have stopped smoking chronic a long time ago. "Yo, Rain, you ready to do this or what?" asked an iron pourer named Jimmy. "I'm always ready," Rain said, slipping into his jacket. Out of all the iron pourers, Jimmy was the coolest one. He was the one that tried to help Rain when he first got there. All the other iron pourers didn't give 2 shits about Rain. They never expected him to last as long as he did, and his antisocial behavior only pushed them further away. "Well, that's good, because you with me today. You know that shit can burn you to the bone, so don't have no plans on dropping shit." "I never do," Rain replied as he put on his lid. After every heat, emptying a furnace filled with melted iron, the iron pourers would take a 20-minute break. 9 times out of 10, you can find them in the lunchroom replenishing their bodies with iced tea. The other 4 iron pourers were William, Big Baby, Ike, and Wayne. The 6 were looked at as the misfits of the foundry, and they relished it. Nobody wanted to pour iron. That was too much like Russian roulette to the other workers at Alcon. "So what's up, Big Baby? You and Weezy going to the strip club with us tonight with your good trickin' ass?" Ike asked, popping the tab on his can of tea. "I don't know why you say that. I always seem to come up when I step up in that bitch with you and Slot Machine Willie over there," Big Baby stated while feeding quarters into the pop machine. All of the men shared a hearty laugh behind Big Baby's remark. Well, everyone except Rain. "Slot Machine Willie? I know your ass ain't talking. We get paid on a Friday and your punk ass broke by Monday. Let me hold that $20 you owe me before Sweetie down at Tremine's get it in her G-string." They all erupted in laughter again. "Rain, why don't you join us tonight at the strip spot?" Jimmy asked, wiping the sweat off his face with a paper towel. "Nah, man, I'm cool. Strip clubs really ain't my thing." "Well, what is your thing, exactly?" Ike sarcastically asked. It ain't paying some freak to dance on me half naked while I'm fully clothed. What sense did that make? Then they charge you an arm and a leg for the drinks. See, what I'm gonna do is shoot to the state store, give me a bottle, go to the house and chill with a broad. So to answer your question, Ike, that's my thing. Exactly. They thought Rain was a bit crazy coming sideways at Ike. It sounds like you live a very lonely and sheltered life, Ike stated. Well, that may be so, but I ain't broke come Monday morning, Rain responded, looking at Big Baby. He silenced them again. Then they all busted out laughing. Well, everyone except Ike. He really didn't like the young man that came to work in the Escalade while he was pushing a late model Blazer. Though everyone was laughing, Ike didn't like the fact that it was at the expense of his close friend Big Baby. Don't get fucked up in here, Ike spat, hushing the crowd. I ain't worried about it, Rain responded nonchalantly as he took a sip of his brisk iced tea. Nigga, what? Ike snapped, getting up to check the young man he despised so much. Jimmy got up to cut him off. Now, Ike, you know you tripping, right? Go back over there and sit down, Jimmy demanded, pointing to Ike's prior seat. Young nigga, don't get your mouth blew out, said Ike, pointing at Rain. And that's enough, said Jimmy. Rain just looked at Ike like something was wrong with him, daring him to do something with his expression. Well, I guess that's my cue. Too many testosterones floating around in here, William said, getting up from the table to leave. Yeah, I feel you on that, Big Baby added and stepped behind William. So what do you plan on doing tonight, youngster? Jimmy asked, breaking the uncomfortable silence. Man, I'm to my new house. I'm gonna take a bath, break in some new PlayStation games, and toss back a few beers. Damn, man, you got a new house on your salary? Jimmy asked in a surprised manner. Actually, the house was passed down from me to my uncle. He died about 6 months ago. He was supposed to give it to me a while back, but I couldn't leave the streets alone, if you know what I mean. I'm doing everything legit now, so that's all I do. I go to work and I go home, Rain stated proudly, excited of his new turned around life. Yeah, I feel you on that, youngster. It ain't shit out there in them streets. Come on, let's go back to work, said Jimmy, not wanting to leave him and Ike alone. The long, hot Friday was over for the workers at Alcon. Everyone had their checks in their pockets and was getting in their rides to go to their destination. Other than the workers, the parking lot was filled with women coming to pick up their boyfriends and husbands. Rain had just came outside when he spotted Jimmy leaned over in the driver's side window of a black Chevy Trailblazer. Rain spotted 2 dime pieces and a soft 8 inside. Big Baby and Ike stood close by, waiting on a chance to shoot their shot with one of the 5 females. They parked the Chevy truck in front of Rain's Escalade, blocking them in. Ike noticed that he was coming over to get in his truck, and his tempers flared up. The real reason was that he wanted to establish something with the pretty, long black silky hair, chocolate female that occupied the passenger seat. He knew that once she saw Rain and his Escalades that his chances would be slim to none. Rain pulled out his keys and hit the button on his alarm. Security deactivated. Hello, Rain, his alarm system seductively sang. If they didn't notice a tall, brown-skinned guy with the waves, they did now. Damn, Jimmy, who is that? Asked the chocolate bombshell on the passenger side with lust dancing in her eyes. Jimmy looked back and saw his co-worker coming. Oh, that's Rain. How come I ain't never seen her before? She asked, getting out of the truck. Ike was really heated when she walked past him to get to Rain. Rain saw the look on Ike's face and knew it was going to be trouble. I ain't got time for this, Rain sighed under his breath. Excuse me, but what is your name and what do I have to do to get to know you better? She asked, licking her lips at Rain. Before seeing a look on Ike's face, he was going to shoot the girl's attempt down without a second thought. Rain knew Ike was feeling the girl. His face said it. He just didn't feel like going there with his Alcon enemy. After seeing the thick, curvaceous body, he changed his mind. She was built like the video vixen Love Barnett. Shit, you can start by giving me your number or taking mine one, Rain responded, looking her over with lust in his eyes that he was trying to hide but failing miserably at. Do you have a pen? She asked. I got one in my truck. They made small conversation as they walked over to the SUV. This motherfucker, said Ike under his breath. Now start, man. Fuck her and him. Big Baby said, trying to calm his friend down. He knew that Ike wanted to get at the thick chocolate dime. He also knew that his temper would get the better of him one day. As he watched it unfold, he hoped that it wouldn't be today. Rain, let me holler at you for a minute, fam. Man, I ain't got shit to talk to you about, Rain said, holding out the ink pen to give to the woman. Oh, shit, Jimmy whispered under his breath. Jimmy knew Ike all too well, and he knew what was next. Bitch, we got a lot to talk about, Ike retorted loudly. He knew what he wanted to do, and that was to beat Rain's ass. That's another reason why he was so loud. Rain would not back down himself, and calling him a bitch was only making the situation worse. When Big Baby saw how anxious Rain was to get at Ike, he stopped Jimmy from breaking it up. Let him work, man, let him work. Jimmy knew Ike had skills. He didn't want to see Rain take a L. Ike was a short, well-built, brown-skinned brother. Coming up in high school, he had won state wrestling title 3 consecutive years. To this day, he carried those skills well. Ike knew deep down inside that this was going to be an easy victory. Besides, Ike wanted to show off with a girl he wanted to holler at. Rain came from out of his truck and in front of the cars to start battle with Ike. By this time, a crowd started to form to watch. Some spectators wanted to see Ike take a beating. Others just wanted to see some action before they went home to their dull lives. "You're gonna respect my gangster," Ike demanded as he got into his fighting position. Rain just laughed. "Fuck you and your gangster. You gotta give respect to earn it." Ike's speed was fast, taking Rain by surprise. He rushed Rain and caught a two-piece combination. It staggered Ike a little, but he completed his mission, and that was to grab a hold of Rain. Ike took Rain to the top and sent him crashing down onto the concrete. "Damn!" was all that could be heard coming from the crowd. Ike made a mistake by not finishing the job. "Get your bitch ass up, nigga. I got some more of that for that ass," Ike yelled as he threw two faint jabs into the air. Rain was hurt from the body slam and was slow to get up. Once he was on his feet, he tried to shake off the pain that racked his body. "Man, Ike, that's enough. Leave that little brother alone." Jimmy played it while pleading the brother card, hoping that Ike would just leave the situation alone. Ike's adrenaline was pumping now, and he had no plans on stopping. He rushed him again, but Rain sidestepped him and threw a two-piece combo. One hit him in the kidney, the next one hit him in his jaw. "Oh shit, that little nigga got some work," someone commented from the crowd of spectators. The combination buckled Ike, which gave Rain an opportunity to regain his composure. The swift and precise blows took Ike by surprise. He was frustrated more than he was shocked. He turned around and rushed Rain again, but this time Rain was prepared. Rain threw a straight right, then a body shot that had him doubled over, then ended it with a knee and broke Ike's nose. Blood came gushing out like a free-flowing faucet. "I got your number with your bitch ass. Those wrestling skills can't do shit with these hands. Better say that shit for SmackDown. What? You thought shit was sweet since I'm skinny. Your punk ass got another thing coming. If you could fight like you run your fucking mouth, you'll be thorough," Rain taunted. Ike stood there holding his nose. It wasn't supposed to turn out like this, he thought to himself. Ike put his hands up and started to come at Rain again. Jimmy saw enough and pushed Big Baby out of his way and grabbed Ike. "Okay, man, that's enough. This little brother got you all out your square." Rain dropped his guards and went back over to the truck. He took a quick glance back to make sure Ike wasn't running up on him. "Call me." The chocolate dime piece was holding up a folded piece of paper. "Man, tell your people to move their truck," said Rain, taking the piece of paper out of her hand as he passed. As the Chevy was being moved, Rain hopped in his truck and picked up his remote. He scanned his CDs until he came upon the one he was looking for. "Bitch Nigga" by Dr. Dre came out of the speakers. As the truck moved, the rapper Mailman was going through his verse when he looked at Ike and cranked up the volume. Rain smiled at him and pulled out of the parking lot, leaving the pissed off Ike behind. After Ike tried to wipe the blood from his nose, he approached the chocolate bombshell. "Excuse me, but can I?" "Boy, bye," she replied with a wave of her hand. Now that the fight was over, Rain's adrenaline was back to normal. He was feeling the pain from the body slam that Ike administered. He winced as he tried to take a deep breath. "Bitch ass," he said to the cabin of the caddy as he grabbed at his side. Rain had the urge for a blunt and a beer for his ride home to put his mind at ease. The unexpected altercation had his nerves jumping. He went to a mom and pop store on 57th in Detroit called Sullivan's to cash his check. He walked in the store wondering what his plans would be for the weekend. The statement he made to Ike earlier in the lunchroom was only half the truth. He would really go home and toss back a few beers and watch some movies, but it would not be with a girl. More than likely it was going to be by himself. Rain was retired from the street's illegal drug trade. He flourished in this occupation, and his clothes, jewelry, customized caddy truck was proof. Before his street resignation, Rain had women like Russell Simmons had business ventures. Once they found out he wasn't selling dope anymore, they moved on to the next meal ticket. The ones that stuck around, he lost interest in. It's crazy, but it's like he found the true value of what a woman should be once he entered the workforce. Since they didn't meet his criteria, he moved them out of his life. The strenuous duties of his job combined with the heat of the foundry left him with little to no energy to do much afterwards. Sometimes going straight home wasn't an option, it was a requirement. Seeing a thick woman in the parking lot and getting her number was something he was going to consider. He thought it would be nice to go home to a thick-bodied woman like her. Rain walked up to the courtesy window and pulled out his wallet. He removed his check and a small piece of paper with different figures on it. These were his bills that needed to be paid. "I want to cash my check and I need these money orders also," he said, sliding the merchant his identification check and a small slip of paper. Rain walked over to the cooler to get a double deuce of Beck's. He walked back over to the window. "Excuse me, can you add this beer to it too? And put a box of Swishers with that." "No problem," the merchant replied while punching figures into the register. After the transaction, he walked away with his needed items and $250 left over from his check. "If it wasn't for you, Uncle Jack," he said to himself as he left the store. Jack was in his mid-50s when he passed. He was one of those old-school players that found the streets as his employer. Unlike his nephew Rain, he was into more than just the drug business. His list of money-making ventures spanned from phony payroll checks, credit card scams, numbers, knockoff designer clothes, flipping stolen cars, and a slew of illegal money-making tactics. Jack was also cool, calm, and collected despite the Rolling Stones at the penitentiary. When he bought the house that Rain occupies, he started to change. He was trying to change his nephew as well. Jack would always tell Rain that he thought someone was watching him and that he didn't feel safe. Rain didn't know that because of it, he made a living will and testament, a document stating that if something should happen to him, Rain would inherit the house and its contents. Jack always wanted his nephew to work and to leave the streets alone. Shortly after his death, it didn't take long for Rain to fulfill his uncle's wishes. He was now employed at Alcon Foundry off of 80th in Detroit as a temporary iron pourer. Despite all the money he made on the streets and the benefits that came with that, he found more peace in punching the clock than he did running the streets chasing money.
B is for ball is black. Basically, we handle our business. L for limo tent, so let Dave Cleve be my witness. A for arithmetic, whereas it keeps the eyes gazing. Total my addition, multiplication, subtraction, and equations. C is for Capone, cause without me...